Hello students, how are you all? Today in electrochemistry we are going to learn a very important topic which is known as Ohm's law. Apart from Ohm's law, we will also learn some more topics like resistance, conductance, resistivity and conductivity. Some of these topics have been studied by students in class 10th, but in class 12 the level of all these topics is quite different. So you need to learn these topics in a quite different way. Okay, so let's start with Ohm's law. I am going to explain Ohm's law in a quite different way. Firstly, we need to focus on what is potential difference and what is current. Actually, when two plates are there in a cell, one plate is negatively charged, another plate is positively charged. Then we say that this plate is at high potential, at high potential, and negative plate is at low potential. Now the question is, what is the meaning of potential? Potential means the tendency to attract electrons or negative charge. This is a common definition of potential. Potential means the tendency to attract the electrons. Although this type of potential is considered reduction potential, but reduction potential is more important than oxidation potential nowadays. So positively charged plate of cell or battery is considered to be at high potential, and negatively charged plate of the battery or cell is considered at low potential. And potential means tendency to attract negatively charged electrons. Okay, so what will happen if you connect these two plates by using a wire? These electrons will be attracted by this plate and electrons will move through this path, and these electrons will neutralize the charge of this positive charge. Okay, and this is how current will pass. This is the path of electrons, and the path of current, the direction of current is considered opposite to the direction of electrons. So the direction of current will be this. This is the direction of current and this is the direction of electrons. And this is how this system works. Okay, this is what actually happens when you connect a circuit using wire with a cell or battery. Okay, this is the principle of flow of current. So just focus on this part. This is at high potential, this is at low potential. So the maximum potential difference between these two plates is called EMF. The maximum potential difference between positively charged plate of cell and negatively charged plate of cell will be called EMF. New term, EMF. Electromotive force means maximum potential difference. EMF, electromotive force, means maximum potential difference between positively charged plate and negatively charged plate of a cell. Now, suppose you have to find the potential difference between these 2 points. Suppose you are going to find the potential difference between these 2 points, then it will be called potential difference between A and B. Suppose there is a point here C. You are going to find the potential difference between this point and this point, then you will say that potential difference between C and B. So you can guess that this difference will be less than this difference. Okay, this is the maximum potential difference, and this difference will be less than that of the maximum potential difference. That's why we say that when we connect a wire with a cell or battery, then the EMF will be greater than the potential difference. EMF will be greater than potential difference, because EMF is considered the maximum potential difference. One more thing I would like to mention here, that this plate which is negatively charged, it is the anode of the cell. Negatively charged plate of electrochemical cell is its anode, and positively charged plate of the cell is its cathode. Generally students get confused when we talk about cathode and anode. Generally students say that cathode is the negative pole and anode is the positive pole. It's not like that. Actually, anode is the plate or electrode at which oxidation takes place, and cathode is the electrode or plate at which reduction takes place. In the electrochemical cell, at this plate oxidation takes place, and at this plate reduction takes place. That's why it is anode and it is cathode. Okay, as you just focused on this arrangement and saw that electrons flow through this path and current flow through this path. If the difference is more, suppose if less positive charge is at this plate, less negative charge is there at this plate, then the force with which the electrons will be pulled will be less. And if the difference between these two plates, the charge difference between these two plates is more, then electrons will be pulled with high force. And when electrons will be pulled with high force, it means current will be more. Now we focus on the definition of current. What is current? I. Actually, current means the charge that passes through a wire in unit time is called current. Q upon T. In unit time, whatever amount of charge flows through a wire is called current. So, what does it mean? If the force is more, if electrons will be pulled with greater force, then the charge will be more and current will be more. So, what does it mean? Greater the difference between positively charged plate and negatively charged plate, greater the charge difference, greater will be the force, pulling force, and greater will be the current. This is what the Ohm's statement is. Ohm has said that if you apply potential difference at two ends of a wire, then the current flowing through this circuit, this wire, will be directly proportional to the potential difference. Okay. Ohm has said that if the potential difference V between these 2 points is more, the value of current passing through the circuit will be more. I make another diagram so that you can understand it well. Ohm has said that if the potential difference applied across two ends of a conductor, metallic conductor, is V, and I is the value of current passing through the wire, then the relation between I and V will be I is directly proportional to V. If V is more, I will be more. Okay. You can see that two cells are used to, dry cells are used in some torches, and in some torches 3 cells are used. And the torches in which 3 cells are used, the intensity of light is greater. So I is directly proportional to V. If V is more, I will be more. To remove the sign of proportionality, we need a constant. The constant will be 1 upon R. The R is called resistance. R is called resistance. Okay. How to define this resistance? Just pay attention. V is equal to IR. V is equal to IR. R is equal to V upon I. This is resistance. Resistance means something that resists. Something that resists the flow of current is called resistance. Resistance is the property of metallic conductor that resists the flow of current. जो current के flow में बाधा उत्पन्न करता है, something that resists the flow of current will be called resistance. Greater the resistance, less will be the current. Okay. Now we can write this equation in a new manner. V directly proportional to I, but the actual principle lies in the fact that I is directly proportional to V. This is Ohm's law. Now this is the derived form of Ohm's law. Derived form of Ohm's law. Without potential difference, current cannot flow. That's why you need to understand that this is the main statement of Ohm's law. Now we have to focus on the unit of R. Okay, let's focus on the unit of R. The unit of resistance is Ohm. The symbol is omega. Symbol is omega and unit is Ohm. You can also draw a conclusion by considering this equation. Suppose you apply 1 volt potential difference. The value of potential difference is 1 volt and the current is 1 ampere. Then the resistance will be 1 ohm. If 1 volt potential difference is applied, 1 ampere current flows, then the resistance will be 1 ohm. Okay. So this value will remain same, but this value will change for different conductors. For example, suppose you use copper wire. For copper wire, the value of resistance is very less. If you use iron wire, for iron the value of resistance is more. The resistance value among metallic conductors, the silver has least value among all the metallic conductors. Okay. On the basis of R values, you can categorize different substances into good conductors, bad conductors, intermediate conductors, etc. Okay. Now, related to this Ohm's law, some more definitions are there which are very important in electrochemistry and in physics as well. Next definition is conductance. Resistance, and conductance means the ease with which current flows in a metallic conductor or an electrolytic solution. You must be aware of the fact that some electrolytes like solution of NaCl, like solution of HCl, they can also allow current to pass through them. That's why they are also conductors. So conductance means the ease with which current flows through a metallic wire or an electrolytic solution. This is the definition of conductance, the ease with which the current flows through a metallic conductor or an electrolytic solution. So it means that it is the reciprocal of resistance. Less the resistance, greater will be the conductance. As I just said, the resistance of silver is least among all metals. It means the conductance of silver is greatest among all the metals. Okay, so the order of resistance is just opposite to the order of conductance. Now unit, it is 1 upon ohm, so its unit will be ohm inverse. One more unit is there for conductance, which is known as mho. OHM, ohm, MHO, mho. One more unit is there, Siemens, as. 3 units are there for conductance. Okay. Suppose 3 metals are there, silver, copper and iron. The order of resistance for these metals will be this. This is the order of resistance. And the order of conductance will be just opposite to this order. Order of conductance will be silver, copper, iron, and this will be the order. This is the order of conductance. This is all about conductance. Okay. When we talk about the conductance of electrolytes, then we should first focus on the definition of electrolytes. Suppose we are talking about electrolytes, then what about the definition? What are electrolytes? Electrolytes are those chemical compounds which are bad conductor of electricity in solid state, but in solution form and in molten form they can allow current to pass through them. वो सब्सटेंसेस जो सॉलिड फॉर्म में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को पास नहीं होने देते अपने में से, लेकिन अगर उनको मेल्ट कर दिया जाए या उनका सोल्यूशन बना दिया जाए तो करंट उनमें से पास किया जा सकता है. Such types of substances are called electrolytes. For example, NaCl. Even in solid form, sodium chloride exists as Na plus and Cl minus. But if you make an attempt to pass current through solid NaCl, then it is impossible to do so, because positively charged sodium ions and negatively charged chloride ions are not free to move. They can't move at all. That's why in solid form sodium chloride is bad conductor of electricity. But suppose you melt sodium chloride or you make aqueous solution of sodium chloride. This is aqueous solution of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride aqueous. And you connect two electrodes dipped in this solution to the battery, then current will flow. Current will flow. So such types of substances that do not allow the current to pass through them in solid form, but in liquid solution form or in molten form, it is possible to pass current through them, are called electrolytes. Now, what are the examples of electrolytes? All ionic salts. All ionic salts are examples of electrolytes. Then mineral acids or inorganic acids. Inorganic acids like HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, and other acids like H2CO3, H2S, H3PO4. All these are examples of electrolytes. Then bases like NaOH, KOH, NH4OH, etc. Then organic acids. Organic acids, all carboxylic acids like acetic acid, then tartaric acid, citric acid. All these are examples of electrolytes. Okay. I would like to give you a simple example how to determine whether a compound is an electrolyte or not, and what is the necessary condition for an electrolyte. Actually, the necessary condition is formation of cations and anions in solution or liquid state. If cations and anions are being formed in solution or liquid state, the compound will be considered an electrolyte. And how to check it? It is very simple to check it. Make aqueous solution, because it is not possible to melt all the electrolytes practically, because students are bound to work at a laboratory, and in laboratory we don't have such types of instruments that we can melt every substance and we can find whether it is electrolyte or not. But those substances which are soluble in water can be checked through this method. We will make aqueous solution of given substance. Suppose I have been given a substance sodium sulfate. I have to check whether it is an electrolyte. I will make its aqueous solution. Then what will I do? I will dip a wire in the solution. Then I will connect a battery. Then I will connect a bulb. This is bulb. Then another end of wire will be Two wires are dipped in this electrolytic solution, battery is there and bulb is there. On getting the switch on, bulb enlightens. What does it mean? It means that it works as an electrolyte. Now another example. Suppose aqueous solution of ethyl alcohol is there, C2H5OH, and two wires are there, bulb is there, battery is there. What will happen? What is expected to happen? Bulb will not enlighten, and this is how we can say that no ions are there in ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is not an electrolyte at all. Okay, so using this technique you can easily find out whether a given substance is electrolyte or not. Okay, and you can apply this technique to know whether current can be passed through lemon juice, orange juice, sirka and other substances which are generally used in day-to-day life. Okay, next topic is very important in chemistry.